From thriving river ports to near ghost towns, the Heartland's small communities find themselves at a crossroads. Over a century of boom and bust lies etched in vacant storefronts and silent wharfs. As population numbers shrink and industries fade, an essential question emerges. What happens when the lifeblood of a town shuts down and families begin to drift away? How do hearts that once pulsed with promise reignite the spark of hope? Join us on an 18-minute journey across 10 Heartland towns, each facing decline but refusing to surrender. We will trace their histories, meet the people clinging to tradition, and discover how collective action is breathing new life into America's rural soul. In the shadow of the Mississippi River lies Cairo, Illinois, a town born where two great rivers converge. In 1920, it teemed with 15,000 residents. Steamboats chugged into port, warehouses brimmed with cotton, and lively markets spilled onto cobblestone streets. Grand theaters hosted vaudeville acts, and European immigrants mingled over steaming coffee. Yet by 2024, Cairo's population has fallen to around 1,500, a staggering 89% decline over a century. Abandoned storefronts stand frozen in time, their peeling paint echoing past splendor, while the three levees stand guard against seasonal floods. But inside this stillness, a quiet renaissance stirs. Lifelong resident Mary Johnson recalls her grandfather's tales of summer concerts on the courthouse steps when families danced under lantern light. Inspired by those memories, a dedicated group of volunteers has restored the historic courthouse theater, reviving its once ornate balconies and fading murals. Each summer evening, acoustic guitars fill the air, and neighbors gather on worn folding chairs, sharing meals passed from hand to hand. Nearby, a weekly farmers market draws young entrepreneurs selling heirloom tomatoes, honey from rooftop hives, and handmade quilts. Slowly, the ripple of activity is luring photographers, history buffs, and curious travelers back to Cairo's riverfront, weaving fresh threads into its cultural tapestry. Heading west, we arrive in Lexington, Nebraska, an agricultural heartland town once powered by a Tyson Foods beef plant. For decades, 3,200 workers clocked in daily, fueling not only local families, but also a network of suppliers and small businesses. But when the plant announced its closure, the news hit like a freight train. In a community of 11,000, that single shutdown threatened a total of 7,000 lost jobs across neighboring counties. Grocery aisles grew sparse, diners sat empty, and uncertainty loomed over Main Street. Among those worried was former plant operator Luis Ramirez, who had spent his entire career trimming steaks and managing safety checks. He admits he never imagined the line would go quiet for good. Facing this abrupt void, town leaders refused to accept defeat. They partnered with the University of Nebraska-Lincoln to launch an agri-tech incubator inside a renovated grain elevator. Prospective entrepreneurs now prototype drought-resistant crops, vertical farming modules, and solar-powered irrigation systems. Monthly hackathons bring students, farmers, and software developers together, driven by a shared mission to reinvent rural enterprise. A co-working cafe on the second floor offers strong coffee alongside high-speed internet, where neighbors once trading gossip in the old diner now swap business cards and business plans. Each workshop includes mentors flown in from Lincoln's tech corridor and local high school students now backpack towards summer internships. The elevator's weathered grain bins have become meeting rooms, echoing with brainstorming sessions. In Lexington, innovation has replaced tradition as the new crop to be harvested. Farther north, Oshkosh, Nebraska endured a different challenge. In 2018, its only grocery store shut its doors without warning. Families faced a 50-mile round trip just to buy milk or fresh greens. A community formerly known for barbecues in the park suddenly found itself driving past shuttered windows and broken neon signs. But rather than surrender, residents rallied. Local veteran and community organizer Sarah Carter led a series of town meetings at the aging American Legion Hall. It was here that 50 enthusiastic members pledged to form a cooperative, thus each investing a share toward a new grocery venture. They raised over $250,000 in just 3 months by organizing bake sales, art auctions, and a benefit concert. In the spring of 2019, Main Street Market opened its doors, stocked by local farmers and bakers. Within weeks, long lineups and weekend crowds proved the demand for a community-owned store. Today, shelves bear heirloom produce, pasture-raised eggs, and homemade sourdough. A cozy cafe corner invites conversation over steaming cups of roast blend coffee, while quarterly cooking classes teach children to knead dough and preserve pickles. The success of Main Street Market has inspired neighboring towns to explore similar cooperatives, turning Oshkosh into a beacon of rural commerce reinvention. Across the river in Bellevue, Iowa, residents embrace the Community Heart and Soul initiative to rediscover their town's essence. Decades ago, the downtown corridor bloomed with mom-and-pop diners, boutique shops, and a beloved candy store where children chased peppermint sugar on summer afternoons. Over time, shuttered windows replaced neon signs, and younger generations drifted toward distant cities. Facing the risk of irreversible decline, Bellevue's leaders invited every resident to define the community's core values through town hall gatherings, pop-up cafes, and door-to-door outreach. Elders spoke of community gardens and annual cornhusking festivals, while youth imagined makerspaces and renovated skate parks. The unifying vision that emerged prioritized historic preservation, affordable housing, and cultural celebration. In response, volunteers restored several turn-of-the-century commercial blocks, converting empty storefronts into art studios, a cooperative bakery, and a multi-generational community center. A new housing development of modest cottages offers below-market rates to young families, filling empty lots with laughter and play. And this summer, Bellevue hosted its inaugural Homestead Days, blending vintage tractor shows with live bluegrass performances and a farmer's market packed with local preserves. Through collective action, Bellevue has woven a fresh chapter into its rich storyline, ensuring the heart of the town continues to beat. In Northwest Ohio sits Van Wert, a town whose history was etched in steel rails and factory whistles. With a population just over 11,000, it once thrived as a rail hub, supplying countless machines and tools across the region. But as manufacturing consolidated and distribution routes shifted, factories fell silent. Empty lots and boarded-up workshops became the backdrop for an exodus of young talent. High school senior Emmeline Nguyen witnessed her classmates packing car trunks bound for bigger cities. Determined to offer an alternative, a local philanthropic foundation stepped in with a bold revitalization project. They secured grants to renovate 6 historic downtown buildings, preserving ornate brickwork and vintage cornices. Within those walls now live a shared makerspace for woodworkers and metal artists, a solar-powered co-working lounge, a community kitchen for culinary startups, and an artisanal chocolate workshop founded by a returning alumnus. Weekend events called First Fridays transform Main Street into a bustling open-air gallery, with food trucks, craft stalls, and live music performed by local bands. Murals depicting Van Wert's industrial heritage now brighten former alleyways, reminding passersby that innovation and tradition can coexist. With each ribbon cutting, the sense of belonging grows stronger, promising a vibrant future for the town's next generation. Further east in Bellefontaine, Ohio, local visionaries saw opportunity in preservation. This county seat once reverberated with the sounds of horse-drawn carriages and courthouse crowds. Yet as new highways bypassed the town, many businesses left and historic storefronts slipped into decay. Recognizing the untapped potential, a coalition of preservationists and entrepreneurs launched a massive restoration effort. Over 10 years, 56 Victorian and Federal-style buildings were meticulously refurbished. Blacksmith shops returned alongside specialty coffee roasters, and renovated lobbies now house vegan bakeries and artisanal cooperatives. 17 new retailers set up shop, while a local microbrewery opened in the old firehouse, blending craft beer with communal tables. Together, these enterprises generated nearly 180 jobs and attracted day trippers from nearby urban centers. A winding walking trail was carved through the adjacent green space, guiding visitors past restored fountains and informational plaques detailing Bellefontaine's pioneering spirit, including its record as the world's first concrete street. Seasonal events like the Maple Syrup Festival and a Tuesday night market draw families every summer. Through thoughtful investment and a deep reverence for history, Bellefontaine has crafted an appealing mixture of small-town charm and modern vibrancy. In the heart of Kansas lies Lindsborg, affectionately dubbed Little Sweden. Established in the 1860s by Swedish immigrants, its red wooden barns and folk art traditions once defined the town. Looms clacked in weaving shops, and each year the Svensk Hyllningsfest folk festival packed Main Street with dancers in colorful costumes. But as global markets shifted, weaving mills closed and the festival lost steam. Population dipped and many historic cottages fell dark. Yet a resurgence was brewing among local descendants like Ingrid Svensson. Inspired by memories of her grandmother's accordion playing, Ingrid rallied artisans, business owners, and athletes to form a revitalization committee. By blending traditional crafts with contemporary entrepreneurship, they saved the festival, adding art exhibitions, financially supported startup stalls, and live folk rock concerts. Over the last 5 years, attendance has doubled, with visitors arriving from coast to coast, lured by handmade woven rugs, glass-blown ornaments, and pickled herring samples. The tourism boost has supported new bed and breakfasts that showcase Scandinavian decor and a solar-powered bakery churning out cardamom buns each morning. By honoring heritage while embracing innovation, Lindsborg has rekindled its soul, proving that even small sparks of culture can light the way to economic renewal. In Michigan's interior, Albion once stood as a bustling shoe manufacturing hub. Generations clocked in at dawn, stamping out soles that traveled across the country. The rhythmic hum of machines provided livelihoods and defined daily life. But by the late 20th century, factories closed and production shifted overseas. Abandoned warehouses lined the railroad tracks, and Albion's youth felt the pull of larger cities. Justin Walker, who once toured those silent factory floors as a curious child, now leads guided urban exploration walks through the vast, empty halls. Recognizing the town's untapped assets, local leaders secured state and federal grants to convert 2 major factory buildings into a multifunctional arts complex. Today, the old shoe plant houses 40 studios for painters, sculptors, and ceramicists. A portion of the floor serves as a co-working space for emerging tech startups focused on sustainable materials. Regular pop-up galleries, open mic nights, and weekend maker markets draw art enthusiasts and families alike. Nearby, a new microbrewery crafted from a retrofitted assembly line offers signature ales named after Albion landmarks. College internships in creative fields have increased, and families are returning to buy homes near this rejuvenated arts district. Albion's rebirth underscores the power of adaptive reuse and creative class investment in restoring small-town vibrancy. At the junction of Wisconsin and Iowa sits Prairie du Chien, a town forged by the currents of the Mississippi River. In its heyday, fur traders and steamboat captains navigated its winding channels, trading beaver pelts and lumber. But as barge traffic shifted to larger ports and rail lines bypassed its docks, the riverfront fell into neglect. Dock pilings rotted, warehouses stood empty, and floods in the 1990s further eroded local confidence. Fisherwoman Lisa Thompson recalls summers when children splashed in the river and fishermen filled the pier before dawn. Determined to restore that sense of place, a grassroots coalition secured funding to rebuild stone piers, install electric charging stations for modern boats, and design a scenic boardwalk dotted with informational plaques about the town's French colonial roots. Local businesses followed suit, opening kayak rentals, artisanal coffee shops, and a modern hotel with river views. Each evening, families stroll along the revitalized promenade, pausing to listen as buskers play guitar under string lights. Seasonal paddle festivals and river music concerts now draw crowds, turning the waterway from a forgotten highway into a cherished communal space. Prairie du Chien's renaissance reminds us that geography can be reimagined to sustain community pride and economic health. Our final stop takes us to Chamberlain, South Dakota, a town that once thrived as a rest stop on Interstate 90. Motels, diners, and souvenir shops lined the highway, but bypass ramps and changing travel patterns sent headlights zooming past without slowing. Streets meant for tourists lay quiet, and shop owners worried time had run out. Dave Parker, whose family has run a motel here for generations, remembers greeting weary travelers with free pie and coffee, only to see bookings vanish. Faced with dwindling revenue, Chamberlain's residents sought a new identity. Embracing the region's Lakota heritage and the spirit of the Great Plains buffalo, they founded the annual Sitting Bull Buffalo Festival. Drums and powwow dancers greet visitors beneath the South Dakota sky, while artisans sell feathered headdresses and hand-painted pottery. Local ranchers showcase bison burgers and jerky made from grass-fed herds. Storytellers recount native legends as families gather around bonfires. In its first year, the festival attracted over 10,000 attendees, eclipsing Chamberlain's population 9 times over. That surge of visitors spurred the opening of new lodges along the riverbank, craft shops downtown, and even a small aviation museum near the old airstrip. By aligning with indigenous traditions and leveraging festival tourism, Chamberlain has rediscovered its highway hospitality on a grand scale. As our journey ends, a tapestry of transformation emerges. 10 towns once silenced by decline now hum with revived theaters, artisans, and festivals. They remind us that economic hardship need not extinguish community spirit. Instead, when residents unite around shared heritage and innovative ideas, a powerful alchemy takes place. Courthouse concerts, riverfront promenades, and cooperative markets become symbols of hope, proving that small towns possess a resilience larger than their populations. These stories stand as a testament to America's heartland, where the bonds of neighbors and the legacy of place forge new paths forward. Discover how these resilient towns are rewriting their stories and learn how community-driven initiatives can breathe new life into America's heartland.